Hey, what's up, guys? So it is officially 6 months, or has been 6 months since I quit my job. Well, technically 7 months because this video is actually a month overdue to the day. And I wasn't feeling well around the time that I was originally supposed to record this video. I needed to get my hair done. And, you get to a point where it's just like, all right, you got to put out the content. And that day's today. So technically it's 7 months, but who cares? The information is what I want to get out to you guys. And what I want to talk about today is, again, everything that I give you guys, I'm not trying to steer you any one way. I'm just trying to give you the information so that this way you guys can, if you guys are pursuing the same things or have questions regarding it, you have the information from my perspective. So, number one, do not impulsively quit your day job. The main reason why I say this is I didn't value my 9 to 5 until I actually quit. The reason why is because at the surface level, all you really have to do is show up, you perform, and you get paid, right? So you go to work, you do the work, you go home, you get paid, right? So keeping things simple, that's really how it works. So you don't have to really do too much thinking. I mean, obviously, you're going to, depending on the job, there are things that you're going to have to do and get done that, may have their own difficulty levels, but at the surface level, that's all you really have to do. Versus when you are running your own business or you're an entrepreneur, you literally handle everything. And a lot of times, when you hear the word everything, it's very vague or it's just loosely used. But no, I literally mean everything. From speaking with the clients, servicing the clients, sending invoices, payments, contracts, marketing, whatever you think of. If you're starting out a entrepreneurial type of journey and you are at the beginning level, you are doing everything. And actually, you're probably doing more work than you were doing when you were working your 9 to 5. So if you aren't doing more work than when you were working your 9 to 5, you're not doing enough work. So that is number one. So you actually work 10 times harder than you do when you're working your 9 to 5. The second part of that is the financials. Do not quit your job unless you are financially ready to do so. And the reason being is because money does not stop being involved just because you quit your job. So you still have to pay for the place that you live. Some of you guys may live at home. If you do, that's a plus. If you guys aren't paying rent and all those kind of things. So this is something you want to strongly consider. You still got to put food in your body. You got to put gas in your car. You may have to pay insurance, phone bills, etc. Whatever else it is that you pay for. And you are going to want to scale down. So any unnecessary expenses, scale away from them if you do not absolutely need them or if you cannot manage them. The third part, which I struggled with the most, was having a routine. So when I worked my 9 to 5, pretty much my whole week was planned. You have your schedule, you're going to work Monday through Friday or whatever your designated days are. So on those days, you get ready for work, you go to work, you have tasks and objectives laid out for you. So you know exactly what you're going to do at work, or somebody who is in a management level position will assign you your duties for the day, and that is what you're going to work on and complete. Very simple, straightforward, and laid out. When I first started and quit, the first 3 months, I had absolutely no idea what I was really supposed to be doing. So I was booking a lot of clients, obviously, and getting business that way. But I didn't have any real structure. So it wasn't, okay, I'm waking up today and I'm working on a website, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And still, as I'm making this video right now, I'm still figuring out the best routine on a day-to-day basis so that I can put the best amount of effort, or I should say the most amount of effort and time into my business to make sure that I'm growing it in the right ways. So having a routine was probably the biggest struggle. And if you guys are going to be in this space, just know that this is something that counts more than anything. It's the discipline. And I think that's the key word I want to focus on here is because if you're not disciplined and you're not serious about running this business and making sure that things are in order, you are going to fail or you are not going to see longevity in the business. Um, and that's really a critical point because sustainability, right? You might be able to get a client today or tomorrow, but especially when you're first starting off and you're making a name for yourself, for your business, for your company, you're building your brand, you're building your image. You want to treat this like you treated your 9 to 5. You got up in the morning and you went to work and you put in the work for somebody else. So you want to do the same thing with yourself. And as I'm saying this to you guys, I have to be accountable as well and do the same thing for my own business. So what I do is on a daily basis, I'll make a planner and a list of things that I need to do that are tailored towards my business, and that's what I work on. Um, the other challenge is that if you're working at home or you're not physically at a location, you may face a lot of distractions. So you want to try to do things that limit distractions. Waking up in the morning, taking a shower, and getting dressed like you're going somewhere or you have something to do or like you're going to see somebody. I think it may be psychological, but I find that that helps. So just implement little things into your routine or your day to day that make it feel like you're treating your business seriously. And of course, you want to have fun with it, you want to enjoy it, but at the end of the day, it is a business. So run it like one. Second point that I want to make is don't get caught in perfection, improve as you go. I know this is cliche, but there is no such thing as perfection. And the reason why I say this is there are flaws that exist in some of the best companies, organizations, foundations in the world, and they are top level rated companies, right? So, just an example, if you ever bought an iPhone and you've had a defect with it and you've had to send it back, or you had to go into the Apple store for it to be serviced because something wasn't working, right? That means that there was an issue, something wasn't perfect. It could have been a user error, it could have actually been an error with the product, but something was wrong, right? There was an issue that needed to be addressed. And the point that I want to make is if companies of that size and magnitude can make mistakes, you as an individual who is running every aspect of your business can afford to make mistakes as well. It's what you do with those mistakes. As long as you're moving forward with everything that you're learning, that's what counts. And last but not least, number 3. This is a question that I frequently get asked. And this question is, why did I quit my job? And there is no one specific answer that I can just give you guys to kind of just summarize it all. But what I can say is, towards the end, right before I did quit, I would always run into people who would express their desire to want to leave the job for whatever reasons that they felt enough was enough or they wanted to move on to the next thing. But they didn't do it. And I didn't want to find myself in a position where I felt that I was trapped or I didn't have other options or I couldn't do something else. And I think that is the worst position that you can ever be in. Working a job because you think you have to. Um, we live in a society that kind of empowers you to, you know, reap the rewards of what it is that you do or what it is that you work for, I should say. So realizing the amount of efforts that I put into my job personally, and this is just from my own personal opinion, the compensation that I received, um, there could have been some potential influence of management that can also take a play, because a lot of people don't realize that companies never really do anything wrong. It's always the people that work for the company, right? So the people define the culture, the people define the environment, whether that makes it a positive or negative one. And I'm not saying that it was positive or negative. That part I'm just leaving general. But to say the least, again, there were just a lot of moving parts, a lot of different variables that contributed to me just saying, you know what? I have a passion for something. I think I am really good at it and I can be very successful if I use the same application that I use here on myself. Let's give it a try. And that's what ultimately led me to jumping the gun after, of course, making sure number one and two that I already spoke about were in place. And that's how I got here. And, speaking to you guys about my personal experiences, just in case you guys are looking to do the same or wondering what inspired me to actually do this. And I think anybody can do anything that they put their mind to. So if anybody or anything is stopping you from doing something you want to do, it is you. And I'll use another analogy just to explain that a little bit further. There's a saying that people say often, which is, I don't have time. And I always say, and I've always said this before even hearing it become a thing. People always have time. People always have time. People make time for the things that they want to do. So if you text somebody and they don't text you back, but they're on social media, they made time for social media. They just didn't make time to reply back to you. So I say that with all intention. I take things less personal now, and I just learned that I have to treat situations how situations treat me. So reciprocate the energy that you're looking to come back to you. So when you make the time for the things that you feel are truly important, those are the things that you're giving your energy to, and that is the things that you'll get your energy back from. So if you feel like something is worth your time, put the energy in there, put the work into it, and you should see results.